Our next speaker I first met in 2019 at YMCA 175, YMCA's most global youth leadership forum in its history, with 3,000 changemakers from nearly 100 countries, where he and I were both keynote speakers and spent the week meeting inspirational activists and leaders from across the world. Jeffrey is does leading work and inspiring work, and it's my pleasure to introduce him today. In early 2009, Jeff and his cousin Matt purchased a bunch of art supplies and headed to a children's intensive treatment unit at the local psychiatric hospital. Jeff shared his story and struggles and challenged the kids to paint what gave them peace of mind. The kids not only had fun, but were able to communicate through their art in ways that they could not do with words. This experience inspired the creation of Peace Love. Peace Love promotes mental wellness by using creativity and expression to inspire, heal, and communicate. It believes everyone deserves a safe space to share their emotions. Its workshops are a place to create fearlessly and honestly without judgment, a place to be vulnerable, celebrate, and empower each other. Please show your virtual appreciation for its founder, Jeff Sparr. I'm so happy that you're here and we get to share the stage once again.
Thank you, Louisa, for the kind words. I appreciate it and honored to be with you folks this morning. Just want to first say thank you to the YMCA for their continued vision to take a leadership role in a subject that I've dedicated my life to, and I think has never been more important than kind of at this defining moment. And I also want to take a chance, Louisa, to thank you, Jaden Parsons. I know Mike Broomfield behind the scenes there, and all the other inspiring youth that give me hope that the dreams that I have for a kinder, gentler, more empathetic world are a possibility. So thank you for that. So, excuse me, over 2 years ago, it's hard to believe it's been that long since I spoke at the YMCA in London. And when I was with you last, I spoke about the power of creativity. And I urged people to make art. In fact, I even promised you that if you show me what you made for creativity, that I would send you a piece of my own artwork. And boy, did you guys do that. And you kept me really busy in my studio for quite a long time. Not only did I receive emails sharing your work and how creativity has helped your life, but the heartwarming and stories and the sharing of your own struggles meant an awful lot to me personally. So I thank everybody, for that. I've always been honored by people's willingness to share with me. And these times have brought this certainly to a new level as a day doesn't go by that someone doesn't reach out to me. And look, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a social worker. I'm just a regular guy and willing to listen, which sometimes I think is the best thing any of us can do, as no one wants to be alone. So if you take anything away from today, sometimes the most valuable thing you could do is just lend an ear and a little compassion and empathy. Let's face it, 2 years ago, the world was a different place. I always say it's a shame it took a pandemic to shed light on the epidemic that is mental health, but here we are. And boy, have things changed rapidly. COVID-19 has impacted not only our physical health, but our mental health too. I know it did for me, for sure. Someone living with OCD. And no different than when I was an athlete at Ohio State. I had to up my game and I had to work harder to find that peace of mind that I talk so much about. Unfortunately, OCD, like COVID and other illnesses, mutates, it changes forms, it finds where we're most vulnerable, our weak spots. It's a devilish opponent. And I've had to come to terms simply with what I can and I can't control. And unfortunately, I simply can't control these terrible thoughts that flood my mind and try to convince me, like the devil himself sometimes, that I'm bad. Bad dad, bad husband, bad friend, bad speaker, bad partner. In a way I never expected. COVID has helped me to process and realize, and in some ways accept that I'm not perfect. I'm simply human. and make mistakes just like everyone else. And you know what? It's okay. One of the treatments for OCD is exposure therapy. For those of you who have done it or do it, you know how grueling it is. For those of you that aren't familiar with it, the best way I could probably explain to you would be if you were frightened and fearful of being in an elevator, you would go into an elevator and go up and down all day. And this is an attempt to desperately, inoculate yourself from that fear. It truly is the ultimate fear factor. And in a lot of ways, COVID has been one big exposure therapy for me, where I've had to get comfortable with the uncertainty. I've had no choice. To cope, I've turned to creativity in ways that I never even imagined before. And I'm a pretty creative guy. And you know what? Thank God it's been there for me. And when you think about it, how ironic it was that last time I talked to you people, I talked about the world needing a creative revolution. Little did I know at the time that I would have to call on almost a personal creative explosion for my own health, as I literally have painted my way through COVID. Creativity is both a type of structure and a type of freedom. The easiest thing for my illness is to stay active. Preoccupies my mind, but these times have made it difficult in ways that inconceivable. Creativity gives me something to do that keeps me busy and thinking, but at the same time, it takes me away. It puts all my intrusive thoughts on pause sometimes for even a minute, and that in itself can be invigorating to my soul. In many ways, I had to stop playing to my strength and have the courage to do that. And I started exploring other creative outlets, things that I had never tried. As many of you know, which won't shock you, painting is my favorite and always will be. But I really pushed myself because I had to try new things. As I've been working to share the way I feel and express myself through words more. I noticed as my writing improved and I shared that I didn't feel, so alone. I'm structured my day intensely. I know I talked to you a couple of years ago. I work out, I stretch, I do yoga, I journal, I try to meditate. It's not so easy. And I review my goals and objectives all before breakfast, and probably most of the people out there wake up. It's a lot, but I find it helps me. To be honest with you, it's not an option. It's something I have to do to take care of myself. Carving out this time to take care of not only my body, but also to take care of my mind, which is equally important. In fact, I thought I would share this with you and maybe get a good laugh. I am so committed and or so desperate, I'm not sure which one it was, at the beginning of COVID, to spur my own creativity and escape, I literally built 3 new studios in my home. One in the boiler room, the other in a closet in my basement, and the third in my garage. All creative spaces that I could escape in the moment to try to find some desperate peace of mind. In many ways, the last 19 months or 18 months, have made us reimagine what creativity is. The idea for painting and creating doesn't just come to me. In fact, I never know when it's coming. And I never know when the inspiration for creating will be coming my way. But the more I think about it, I'm always thinking about it. A song, picture in a magazine, something cool somebody says. You never know what's going to inspire you. So for me, creating isn't just when I'm physically creating. It's when I get lost in the mental part of it. And that's all the time for me. I say this because I want everyone out there to know around the world that's listening to this, that it's something that you can do too. Take 2 minutes, sit down with a piece of paper, or whatever medium you've been wanting to try, origami, crocheting, sculpture, doesn't matter. Just try it and see how you feel. And don't be scared. Don't be scared to allow yourself to go when you have a creative thought and let it take you away. Write it down in a sketchbook. Make a note in your journal. Enjoy the creative moment and the peace of mind that it might give you. In closing, I just wanted to say one thing, over the years, and as I said up front, more so than ever, the number one thing that people ask me is, Jeff, what can I do? What can I do? And my answer is always the same. Focus on what you can control versus what you can't control. Creativity for me is something I can control. It literally changed the course of my life, and I think it could help you too. I wish everybody all the very best on World Mental Health Day. And again, I salute the YMCA Global for its continued leadership. Proud to be here, with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeffrey, for sharing your story. I think it's so awesome to hear about how art has helped you with your mental health and coping with the struggles that you've had. I think it's an important reminder that we all have a healthy and safe outlet that we can find. And it's a bit of trial and error sometimes, but thank you for sharing your inspiring story.